Hey everyone, welcome to Geekdom Forecast, and today we're going to review The Suicide Squad. Almost after 5 years, we are getting a sequel, reboot, or let's just say a fresh take on Task Force X. And this one is helmed by James Gunn, and I'm sure everyone knows it. James Gunn is the one who made the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and boy, they were fun, they were exciting as hell, and it's fun to see Gunn finally getting his hands on a DC property. This is the 10th film in the DCEU, and also it's an R-rated film. And let me tell you this: James Gunn really goes for it for the R rating. So, without further ado, let's go for the review. Let's talk about what works in the movie, the cast and the colorful characters. How do you make a movie which was critically panned 5 or so years ago, but it did do well, and you take these obscure characters and how do you make it work? The answer is James Gunn. So what he did was he took one of DC's most obscure and unknown characters, turned them inside out, and put them in a Suicide Squad movie where basically they have a walking time bomb strapped to their necks and they are at the mercy of Amanda Waller, and they are forced to do something which they are not supposed to do. And this is what I really loved about the movie, is that James Gunn is able to perfectly capture that urgency in a Suicide Squad movie, and this was lacking in the previous film. As soon as the movie starts off, and by the way, spoiler alert, the first batch of Task Force X, they just die. I mean, it's from then on we come to know that this movie is going to be very different, balls out fun. And that's when we see that everyone is vulnerable and everyone can be killed left, right, and center. The reason why this worked is because James Gunn was given a free hand on this movie. It's an R-rated movie, of course, and also one of the reasons it worked is because you're taking these characters which you have never even heard of, and it's very easy to take chances in such scenarios because you can't do something like that to some of the well-known characters, like let's say Batman or Superman, because they're always bound by a certain rule. But this one, everything is out of the park. And talking about the characters, Bloodsport is the leader of the group, and he eventually becomes the leader of the group. He's just like a more messed up version of Deadshot. He's not really the perfect father, but it's all fun. And every character here, it's like they're all funny dudes. I mean, Peacemaker, like John Cena said, is a douchey version of Captain America. He indeed is a douchebag, and the things he does, the rivalry between Peacemaker and Bloodsport as they are trying to outdo each other, is just fun. I mean, when they're in the camp area and one of them is just trying to show that, yes, I'm a better shooter, I'm a better weapons guy. That was fun. It's amazing to see how far Harley Quinn has come. I mean, back from a debut in Batman the Animated Series to now where she's like almost, not almost, she is now a household name, and she has reached the levels of, let's say, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, etc., etc. And in this movie, she truly shines, although she's taken a little bit of a step back when it comes to the importance of characters. She does have a lot of memorable moments, and Harley Quinn is one character which you can keep doing new things and she'll never get stale, because that's the beauty of that character. She's evergreen, and Margot Robbie does a perfect job in executing whatever she's meant to do, and this is one of those finest castings ever. Another highlight, and that is Polka Dot Man. Who would have thought one of the most ridiculous DC characters ever, a villain of Batman, Polka Dot Man would even shine in this movie. I mean, I was really it was really sad when, spoiler alert, he was crushed by Starro. And I like the fact that his origins have changed. There's a little bit of a Star Labs reference. There's also a little bit of an alien origin to his superpowers, which is not there in the comic books. So, Polka Dot Man, wish they hadn't killed him, because I want to see more of him. And I think, but that's the thing about the Suicide Squad. You shouldn't get too attached with the characters, because after all, they are dying to save the world. In the previous movie, Rick Flag was easily overshadowed by Deadshot and, of course, Harley Quinn. But it's great to see that Rick Flag here is not really that robotic leader here. In fact, he's not even a leader. He's Rick Flag, and he's fun to see him do different things. And it's let's just say that every character here is charismatic, and even someone as square as a character like Rick Flag, he's even given his own space to establish himself, and that was fun. He also has his own moments in the movie throughout. Again, it's a pity, spoiler alert again, it's a pity he died, but what the heck. Would have thought that Ratcatcher 2 would have worked. I mean, in many ways, she reminded me of Ant-Man, and she's also like my spirit animal, because she dozes off anywhere and everywhere, and I can definitely relate to her in that way. I wonder what's the secret ingredient to James Gunn finally making all these CGI characters work so well. And this has failed in other superhero movies, but his version of Groot and even King Shark here, they are one of the best parts of the movie. And King Shark here is totally a dumbass, and Sylvester Stallone is perfect for the movie. And who would have thought that this would have worked? I think, although Viola Davis as Amanda Waller does not really have much of a screen time like the other Task Force X members, I'm talking about the second batch, she has done a fantastic job in really hating this one character with all your heart. And she has to be one of the most toughest and best DC villains ever in comic book history, as well as comic book movies. For me, the number one would be General Zod from Man of Steel, and at close number two we have Amanda Waller. A spin-off series on Amanda Waller, yep, I'm ready for that. What works again? It's a story. Well, it's a very simple story. The squad members are not recruited but forced to undergo on a mission in Puerto Maltese, where they're supposed to get rid of Starro. And it's that simple, and it works really well. And throughout the movie, I felt I was reading a comic book, because the movie is perfectly divided into chapters, and the way the story progresses kind of reminded me of Army of the Dead. And I'm not saying that James Gunn knocked off Zack Snyder's movie making methods, but whatever he's done, it does work very well. And the story is very simplistic, to the point. It has a vision. It does not get bogged down by world building shenanigans. Of course, there are post credit scenes, mid credit scenes. I mean, that's become like a norm now. But going back to the story, I was on the edge of my seat, just like Loki, and yeah, it worked. It really worked. The movie is like a perfect marriage of a perfect amalgam of violence and colors. It's over the top, it's boisterous, it's boastful, it's something which you wouldn't really expect from a DC movie, because previous DC movies have been known to be very morbid, but then from, let's say, I think it was Aquaman onward, things have been changing so far, and this movie is basically James Gunn off the rails. He's doing stuff that Marvel will never ever let him do. One common gripe that I have with comic book movies is that there are not very much memorable scenes which are visually appealing. You look any of the previous movies that have come so far, it's a good watch, but then there's nothing that stands out in your mind. And throughout this movie, there are lots of scenes which are like right from a comic book. The lighting, the way it's shot, everything, the characters, it looks really good. Hats off to James Gunn and team on how they have created a visually great looking film in a time when there are so many of these comic book movies, and it's really hard to stand out when there's competition from all around. uh, I'm someone who, whenever he watches a movie, especially a superhero movie, I'm very disappointed by the third act. But this one, boy, it was fun. Uh, Especially the last part, the build up to Starro and the eventual fight with Starro, and how all the members die off quickly. That was great, and Bloodsport finally assuming his leadership position. That was fun to watch. Starro is a perfect villain for this kind of movie. He is also an all-out bonkers character, but at the same time, it works really well here. And it wasn't like a CGI mess. It was a feast to my eyes. And finally, seeing a third act which worked so well, where every character was utilized to the max, and it wasn't like a forced representation. And Starro is not really like your quintessential evil antagonist. I mean, you also feel for Starro because he's been captured and he's been experimented on, and in the end, he just wants the entire town to himself. Or I'm not sure of his gender. Entire town to itself. Let's just say that. And there's also a lot of political commentary here as well. It's also about how US just keeps involving itself in all kind of international matters, and how they try to cover up all their bad ideas. And that movie, although it's not a political movie, but it also tries to capture that, and that is done really well. Let's talk about what does not work in the movie. Uh, the soundtrack and the music is a lot to be desired, because DC movies are known to have great soundtrack, great music, and James Gunn has given us one of the best soundtracks in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Here, I just felt that it didn't connect with any of the scenes. It was just a novelty act, just for the heck of it, they put there, and whenever the music was on, I was just put off by it altogether. The humor is a hit or a miss, because there are times where the humor works really well and it's actually pretty funny and witty, but at times I felt that, am I supposed to laugh here? Is this a joke? How am I supposed to take it? I think that's where sometimes they miss the bus completely. Maybe it's American humor, I don't know, something like, I don't know, Family Guy or something, but nah, just didn't cut out for me. Also, there are some aspects which I found a little funny in the movie, and one of them is that why is the rebel leader helping the Suicide Squad after they took out their entire camp? Uh, once again, plot armor comes to the rescue, and that's how it happened, I guess. And also, there is this one thing: why are there no repercussions for that one lady who hit Amanda Waller, and things are also fine with her? So that also did not land, I think. Summer blockbusters or superhero movies in general can be very formulaic, and the well-worn tropes can be sprinkled throughout such genre films. So it's fun to see that James Gunn is functioning within that box, and he's still able to deliver something fresh and relevant. And let's just say, it's after a long time, I really had fun while watching a movie. DC has delivered back-to-back two great films, Zack Snyder's Justice League and this one. I hope they keep the ball rolling. I'm ready for more. And like I've said, I just hope they don't hit a dry patch again, because I really want DC to do well. Not because I'm a DC fanboy or anything like that. I'm a comic book movie lover. I love comic books. I just want to see everyone excel. And that's all. I hope after this movie, a lot of your movie directors take note of this one flick from James Gunn and start taking chances with the characters, with the movie plot, with everything, and they give us at least try and give us something different. I'm super excited for the Peacemaker TV series. John Cena's Peacemaker was one of the best things in the movie, and I can't wait for that. And overall, I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. But wait. Hold on. Hannibal also has got his own take on the movie.
Let's talk about here are the things that I like the most. Things I like, but not that much. Solid 7 out of 10. In the end, I would say release the air.
Alright guys, here you go. You have two different ratings for the movie. You have a 7 on 10, you have an 8.5 out of 10. But it's in the end, it's up to you how you like the movie, because after all, everyone has got their own perspective. Alright guys, that's it for today. If you do like what we are doing, give us a like, do share, and please subscribe. See you soon.